Hi everyone, welcome to another interesting live stream with your Nigerian prince. How is everyone doing? I hope you guys had a very wonderful week. Today is Friday, the last day in the weekday, and and we have a wonderful show ahead. Hopefully, it will be wonderful. And Jesus, to be honest with you guys, I was not in the right headspace for this live stream like about 30 minutes ago. My mind was in so many places, thinking about so many things. I'm working on a video for that will be on the channel by Sunday, but for those who are members, it will be available on Saturday or early Sunday morning. Why for non-members it will be late in the evening, Sunday evening. So I'm working on that video and other things that I'm working on. And my mind was just in so many places. So yeah, so I had to in like 10 to 15 minutes put myself in the right headspace for this live stream. But I believe it is going to go, it's going to go well nonetheless. We are going to have a wonderful day. And I can see that we are not much. We are not much joining me live today. The comment is scanty. What's going on, guys? Just hit the like button, guys. Hit that like button, so that people, the algorithm can, make many more people aware of this and we'll have more people join us. And yes, today we are going to take a break from talking about our favorite religion, the religion of peace, and the conflict in the Middle East, and talk about something else, which I actually planned to talk about last week. Shifted it to Monday, shifted it to Tuesday, and then finally shifted it to today because of people are saying that the video quality is poor. Oh, sorry about that. Uh, why is the video quality poor? I have no clue. Keeps freezing. Wow, that's interesting. Uh, I hope it stops. It stops soon enough. I hope I'm not freezing. Uh, is that the same for everybody? Okay, just is saying that it is blurry. I don't know why any of this is happening. If the video quality is bad or if it's blurry, I don't know why any of that will be happening. But we are going to soldier through. Hopefully, those who get to replay it after we are done will not experience any of this. But for you guys, I really try as much as possible to give you the best streaming experience based on contingent on the Nigerian circumstance. Maybe that is what is playing with uh, with the quality of the live stream right now. So yeah. So they say they want to run you out of business. They really want to run me out of business. The funny thing is, I finally purchased, like, because the Nigerian network is having giving me issues. I finally purchased Starlink, the Starlink internet, whatever. I purchased it, but I'm not using it currently. That's not what I'm using for this live stream because of so many things that are happening. Like Nigeria is a crazy country, guys. It's a very wonderful place to be at. It's a very wonderful country to live in. Many wonderful things go on in this country. But subsequent live streams, I'll be using Starlink, and I guess it will make the live stream, the streaming experience more enjoyable. Some of you are saying Allah has caused. Maybe he has. The cause is that I get to be in Nigeria. Um, Atlantis history said StreamYard has been having some difficulties lately. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I can't tell. And just said blame it on jeans and Fafo. I will blame it on the Jews. The Jews are trying to destroy the quality of my live stream today. I don't know why. And today I'm not even talking about them. Why? They should leave me alone. I'm not I'm not talking about the Jews today. Why can't they leave me alone? Anyway, so guys, you bear with me, bear with the quality of the live stream today. Bear with whatever gets delivered to you guys. I tried. It is not my fault. and hopefully from subsequent live streams it will not occur such uh, bad view or blurry whatever it is that you guys are seeing from your end. You will not get to see any of that subsequently. But let's just get straight to it and try and see what we can discuss. This will not be a long hopefully it will not be a long live stream, and I'll do another live stream on Monday. And yes, that is what is going to happen. So what we are going to be discussing is we're going to be reacting to Pearl's debate with Trent Horn from I think he has it. Both of them have YouTube channels where they talk about different things, and they have this debate about marriage. And the conversation is marriage necessary? Is marriage a good thing? Is it a net positive for men in current modern society? And of course, when they say modern society, they are not referring to Nigeria, which if you ask the average Nigerian, is he a good thing to get married? They'll be like, it goes without saying, of course you should get married. But unfortunately, people in the West find themselves in this situation where they have to consider the viability of marriage. It's one of those things that the West have progressed into. That's what it means to be progressive, to live in a progressive society. You get to start asking yourself these very, very interesting questions. And that's the question that's the conversation they will be having. It's a debate. It was a debate. And it was an interesting debate. Hannah Paul Davis has not changed one bit. She's still the same annoying, obnoxious person. But then it's a debate, so it's allowed, I guess. But Trent tried to be, gracious to some degree. But then it's a debate, so you have to be vicious as well at some point. And it's the vicious part we are going to be focusing on. We'll skip the opening statements from both parties and just go straight to the question and answers. And yes, that's what we'll be talking about today. That's what we'll be discussing today. Yes. And guys, it's going to be interesting. Sorry that I'm starting off like this. I feel like I'm not in the great mood that I usually used to be in my live streams, and I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's because of my mind was in so many places before the start of this stream, or maybe it's the fact that I feel like the output is not what I want it to be. But whichever it is, whatever reason is responsible for my mood, we are going to overcome everything, and we are going to get into the video we are going to be reacting to. But before we do that, I want to talk about what I think about marriage. And I think there are some truths about marriage that are universal. Like, it doesn't change irrespective of your circumstance or your society or the trend in your current trend, things that are trending in your society, things that are applicable in your society. Regardless of any of that, there are certain universal truths about marriage. And one of them for me is the fact that marriage is a necessity for most people. Now, not for everybody. It's true that marriage is not for everybody. But for most people, marriage is for them, and they should aspire and look forward to getting married. If you are somebody who wants to have children, if you're somebody who wants to have a family, the best way to have a family is to get married. No, don't have a girlfriend, a long-time girlfriend that is going to have your children and stuff like. Don't do any of that. Do the right thing. Okay, if you're a man, make an honest woman out of the woman you are dating or you are with, and start a family like your ancestors before you. Have a family. At the end of the day, even when you refuse to make a legal commitment and you decide to have like a long time girlfriend, a lifelong girlfriend who gets to carry your children, she also has the same rights that a wife will have when it comes to child support and what have you. So if that is what you are trying to avoid, let's say you don't want to get the law involved in your relationship, well, they are going to be involved with it as long as a child is involved. So why not do the right thing and just do the proper thing and get married? So it's necessary. Marriage is necessary for the posterity of society. It is necessary for this mortal coil that we find ourselves in to continue. We need to value and engage in the institution of marriage. It is necessary. And people may come up with excuses. We will always have excuses. We always have reasons like, oh, look at what the law states, or look at how women are these days. Look at the society. Look at cultural, elements that have, weakened the institution. We can have all of that, all of those excuses. but it should not deter us, it should not prevent us, it should not stop us from pursuing marriage. For so many people, that is one of the ways they will fulfill their purpose on earth. Being in a meaningful relationship, a monogamous relationship with a woman and having children. That is one way with which many people, both men and women, sorry, I'm saying it like with one woman, like men will not, women also have get to fulfill purpose also in marriage. But for so many people, that is one major way with which they will fulfill their purpose on earth. They will find meaning in their existence on this planet. So it is necessary. It is necessary. And people should, especially those in the West, stop making this excuse of look at the laws, look at this. We need to change until the laws, like that is Hannah Pearl Davis's position, that marriage is a good thing, but under this current circumstance, it is not a good thing. Like we need to change the laws, and until the laws are changed, people should not consider marriage. And that is, for me, I think is wrong to have that viewpoint and to encourage men, because kind of what she's doing, even though she's like, oh, I just want the laws to change. But then you have to be realistic. Like, how are the laws going to change? What kind of reform do you want to see? And how possible it is that those reforms are going to come as quickly as possible. So will every person who is single right now and who is in their mid-20s to late 20s wait till the laws have been changed before they get married? Of course not. You don't allow what your government do to prevent you from, fulfilling your purpose essentially, or engaging in something that is geared towards fulfilling your purpose. Don't do that. Instead, don't allow any of these things to be responsible for how you move in life, how you engage with others in life, and how you bring children into the world, and how you live your life at the end of the day. The laws should not be something that should stop you from engaging, because there are so many blessings in getting married. So many blessings. Anyway, I'm saying so much about marriage. I'm a huge fan of the institution, in case you haven't noticed. And I don't know why anybody would not. I don't know why anyone would not be a huge fan of this institution. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And let me see if I can respond to some of the things you guys are saying in the chat. This is from 247. I don't know how to pronounce your 2470 Quentin. Marriage is okay, divorce is horrible. True. Pritam said, God bless you, Frank. God bless you too. The Sam Mam. Hey, you should do a stream with David Wood and the Apostate Prophet. It's not for the lack of trying. Okay? That I've not been on a live stream with them or have them on my channel. It's not for the lack of trying. Okay. Yes, it would be amazing. Well, that's all I can say about that. The reader said, Frank, ignoring the law is telling a rat to go into a hole that has all the traps that will kill you. My brother, those laws are not applicable in non-Western countries, so you cannot ignore laws. I'm not saying you should ignore the laws, okay? Of course, what I mean by ignoring, don't allow the laws to stop you. That's essentially what I'm saying. And if we can agree on one thing, which is the necessity for marriage, and I think that is one of the fundamental conversation that we need to settle when we have the conversation about marriage, especially in modern Western society. Granted, I don't live in the West, so I don't really have. I'm not going through what you guys are going through with regards to the laws there. Okay, but with regards to the laws here in Nigeria, the laws in Nigeria are not favorable to the women, right? So does that mean the women in Nigeria should not think about getting married? They should be like, no, we are not going to get married, because until the laws change and are more favorable to us, like it is in the West, then we will not get married. So I don't know. And again, when it comes to marriage laws, it's really a complicated conversation, especially when it has to do with divorce, because the way people paint the image people paint when it has to do with divorce, especially in the West, is, oh, the woman benefits. But then I look at the statistics and it shows that no, most women do not benefit from a divorce. Like, they are worse off, they are not better off. People take certain exceptional cases and make it look like that's the rule. Like every divorced woman is like the wife of a famous athlete or something. But that's not usually the case. Many of these women end up with nothing, are worse off, Some of them are running out of abusive, dangerous, terrible relationships, and they are financially wrecked as a result of the divorce. They are not better off. They are not receiving high alimony payment and what have you. No, it's not everybody that is getting the Kim Kardashian, Kanye West deal out of every divorce settlement. So at the end of the day, it's not really like, oh, the way people paint it, like the women are the ones who get to benefit and the men are just left, just picking up the pieces of a broken relationship and paying for the woman living. That's not usually the case or typically the case. So at the end of the day, how do you fix any of this? How do you make it that in marriage, people who get into a marriage will not feel trapped in it, such that, you know, because one thing that should scare, if divorce is something that is scary to anybody, then they should do everything in their power to make their marriage work, right? That is how I see it. If divorce is such a scary thing, then do everything within your power to make your marriage work, right? And it is a good thing if you have that fear, such that it drives you to become a better husband, to become a better father, to not be that guy that doesn't take care of his family, leaves everything, the state of his marriage to just depreciate and becomes an empty union that means nothing and does not it does not mean anything anymore, and then it's just toxic and dangerous and deadly and what have you. So maybe the fear of divorce in of itself can put people in check, right? Because you need something that would deter people from doing certain things. People are moved by incentives at the end of the day. So why we want to put divorce in place also as a way for people who are in a terrible marriage to opt out of it. Now, I'm not saying I'm a fan of divorce. I don't think it should be the first thing everybody goes to when their marriage is not going well. Everybody's like, oh, let's get out of this. Most people are like that, right? Or not most people. Some people are like that. Like once the marriage is not going the way they like, once the feeling, the buzz, the fun, the whatever it is that they were feeling when they met the person they finally ended up marrying, it's no longer there. They want to leave, right? And I don't think that's most of the divorce cases anyway. So I think there's something about allowing divorce that makes people aspire to want to have a good marriage. I don't see divorce as something that has ruined marriages, but I see it rather as something that can make marriage better. I don't know, maybe I'm being naive or being too I'm doing armchair philosophizing right now. It's not like I'm going in the streets collecting hard data and hard facts and coming to a conclusion based on that. I'm just doing armchair philosophy here. So I may be wrong, but there are many conversations to be had about divorce. But at the end of the day, we need to settle once and for all the important fact that marriage is important. It is important. It is crucial. It is necessary. For many people, it's as important as food, drink, and breathing, because it gives your life meaning. It's one way that your life gets to have meaning. If we can establish that, this is the importance of marriage, then every other thing is just a matter of how do you get around it. How do you get around it? Because if, let's say, we establish, for example, that food is good, it is important that every human being should have access to food. We should all strive to put food on the table, right? Let's say we establish that as a fact, and then we say, okay, but there are laws out there that is making it difficult for us to get these foods that we desperately need, right? And then I tell you, oh, let us, despite these laws, we should go out and get food. Nobody will say I'm crazy, because we'll be like, of course, what else would you rather do? Sit around and starve? In the same way, what else would you rather do? If you will not get married, what is your other option? Stay single forever? Have a child outside marriage? Is that your option? Is that your other option? Like if you are not getting married, your other option is not good. So yes, marriage right now, it does not look like it may not be the best, may not be what it used to be. But what is your other option? At the end of the day, it's the same way. I like with the example I was using. Let's say getting food is dangerous, is deadly. Something may happen to you. Back in the day when people had to get food in the wild and they have to fight, dangerous animals and stuff like that. It wasn't really a nice thing to think about, trying to hunt for food and how, gather fruits and stuff like that. But people had to do it. They had to risk their lives. They have to take the risk. And I'm saying my point at the end of the day is marriage is a risk worth taking. Okay? The alternative is not better. It is not better. And yes, there are laws that are making it worse for people. and society is not helping matters. The wave of whatever wave of feminism that the West is experiencing right now is not making things better either. But despite all of those things, it is necessary for you to get married. So how do you get around all of these things is what you should be thinking about. How do you get around the laws? How do you get around the culture? How do you get around all the obstacles that are in place? Because this thing is very important. It is crucial, and it is worth it when it is done well. And people should aspire for it. We should aspire towards it, at the end of the day. So that's kind of like my point with regards to marriage. Essay said marriage is important, but it becomes a business. But it has become a business. Don't get married. Marriage is important, but it has become a business. Okay. I don't know. I don't understand your point there. Is how important is it? How important? And is there not a way to get around the business side of it? And how is it a business right now? It depends on people who are like, if you are referring to people who are like gold diggers and what have you, okay, fair enough. Yes, those people, they see it as a business. So your question as a human being will be, how do you avoid the gold diggers? Not, let us avoid marriage completely because of gold diggers. There's something my dad used to say. He said that if you keep your doors closed, bad things will not come into your house, right? If you keep your doors closed, bad things that want to come through the door will not come in, right? All the negative things that want to come through the door will not come in. But guess what? All the good things that also would come through the door will also not come in because your door is closed. Okay, so yes, there are negative things that comes with the current state of marriage right now. There are so many things you are risking if you get married. Fine, okay, but guess what? If you don't get married, there are so many positive things that you will miss at the end of the day. So you have to ask yourself: Is it important? What is the importance of marriage? Is it necessary for me? I don't think. I think I think the right word is necessary. Like maybe important is making it look like we are talking about things that are important, but you can do without. It is necessary. It is a necessity for many people. Now, not for everybody, granted, but for many people, marriage is a necessity. It is a serious necessity. So, if it is a necessity, how do you get it? The question is no longer, if we can agree that marriage is a necessity, then the question is no longer, should people get married or should people not get married? It's now, how do we make sure people, get the best out of their marriage, or, finally do marriage the right way and, reap the rewards that come with it. That is a much better conversation that people should be having and should be, looking, like seeking out ways to make marriage better. And in my country, Nigeria, that is what people are more interested in. Like in Nigeria, we have people who have, in churches, you have people who have marriage ministries. We have people who, that's what, like, they specialize in giving marriage advice, holding marriage seminars, writing books on marriage, encouraging people like, this is what you should do. This is what you should do to make your marriage better, to make your experience in marriage, worth it, to get the blessings that comes with marriage, and to avoid the negative aspect, or to, walk through negative aspects of that, association that is associated with, getting married. And I think that is what is more important. Yet people, somehow, that is no longer the conversation. It's no longer a conversation of how do we make this thing work. Yes, it is messed up because we are broken people living in a broken world with broken laws and what have you. Instead of people finding a way out, they're like, no, we will ignore this institution completely and act like it is not a necessity. And I'm like, we should no longer, the conversation should no longer be, is marriage necessary, or is it beneficial or not, but rather we should move towards, how do we, despite all the hindrances, make headway in marriage and get the best out of it. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm very sure by the time I look at the comment section, I'll see another comment that will make me want to repeat myself. Anyways, for those who are just joining us, we are talking about marriage in this live stream, and we are yet to start reacting to the debate between Hannah Pearl Davis and Trent Horn. And it's a debate about marriage, and they're trying to figure out if if marriage is a bad deal for men, if men should avoid marriage. That's kind of what the conversation today will be about. So there's something I'm trying to check out. So you guys should let me know if you can hear the audio.
When you do, you get a ton of free perks in
Can you guys
return.
hear the audio? Let me know in the
almost
comments.
3-hour discussion with Jordan Peterson a couple of days ago. That's available right now over on Locals. Also, when you become an annual supporter, you get our free Pints with Aquinas beer stein. You get a ton of other things in return, but I don't have time to tell you about them. So mattfrad.locals.com, and a massive thanks to those.
Can you guys hear it? I'm not downloading anything in there. Odima Chikuigwe. I am doing well. In case people are trying to know what I'm saying. Chikuigwe said Nigerians are more religious and pragmatic when it comes to marriage. Westerners are more atheistic and believe in romanticism and with no real marriage culture. Okay. You can hear it. You guys can hear it. Audio is audible. And it's not echoing, right? That's just what I want to confirm, if it is echoing or not, because the echo has been giving us issues. I don't even know what this comment is about. Anyways, I believe it's not echoing. If not, you guys will have mentioned that. All right, no echo. Thank you. All right, let's get to the video.
Of you who want to cheap. No worries, take your time. A rational.
Women should be obedient.
3 minutes left or something.
All right, so we are getting to the.
No worries, take your time.
To the question and answer, the question and answer section. Like this is the part in the debate where each of the parties I think they get 20 minutes each to question each other, and this is Pearl's opportunity to question Trent. So this is the part I want to react to, because I feel this is where most of the meat of the debate was. There's where we can find most of the meat of the debate. So let's get into it.
Do you think that women should be obedient to their husbands?
Yeah, I think that a rational request or directive, but I think that husbands and wives should lead each other to Christ and to the goodness of their family.
I don't know what's anyway. We'll get to know anyway. We'll get to know what Hannah Pearl Davis is trying to get with this question. But the question of obedience: should women be obedient to their husbands? Another question I want to ask is: should why am I getting notifications from my phone? I think another question that we should ask is: should wives be obedient to their husbands? And this is where it gets controversial for so many people, because many people are, when it comes to that question of women being obedient or women being submissive, that is one, like many men in this world, that is especially Christian men or just men in general that I've met. That is one part of the scripture that they know front and back. They can recite. If you wake them in the middle of the night and say, do you know what Ephesians 5 says about marriage? They're like, yes, wives, submit to your husbands in all things. They can recite it like that, And then when it comes to obedience, they're like, yes, wives should be obedient. And true, wives should be obedient and wives should be submissive. I think, yes, they should. However, there's something that Trent pointed out in his response, which is, he said women should be obedient to their husbands when the request the husband is making is reasonable. That's what he said. That was what his response was, that wives should be obedient to their husbands when their husbands are making reasonable requests. And granted, if that is the standard, the question becomes, who defines what is reasonable? Because what is reasonable can be subjective, right? At the end of the day, it becomes a subjective. Who defines what is reasonable? What is the standard of reason that we are using here? Is it the in law they say somebody of average a reasonable person is somebody, the average individual, a person of average intelligence, an average individual of average intelligence in society. That's the standard for what is reasonable and what is not. But then at the end of the day, if that is the standard, you get to see women disobey their husbands or not follow the leading or the guidance of their husband because they find what he's saying unreasonable, you know. And it may not be that the husband is being unreasonable. It may be that it is the wife who is being unreasonable. So how do you figure that? How do you how do you deal with that problem? My solution is simple. It's a very simple solution. Women, don't marry a man that you cannot be obedient to. Okay? And I know many people, when they get married, they don't consider this. They really do not. Because I feel, especially in the West, everybody just think about love. I'm in love with this person. I've seen people define marriage as the union between two people who love each other. Yes, love is important in marriage, right? There's the feeling, and what have you. That feeling aspect of it, being fond of this person, being, being happy when you see the person, wanting to share moments with the person, to be with the person. There is that emotional aspect of, that is necessary in a relationship, right? But you should also consider this when you are getting married, especially as a woman or even as a man. Get married with somebody who you want to listen to, whose opinion you value, who you don't have an issue obeying, who you can trust. Because for you to be able to obey your husband or to obey your spouse, you have to trust that person. You have to consider that person reasonable, even when sometimes you don't understand what they are asking of you. So in marriage, when you realize, okay, I need to be obedient to my husband, right? Or I need to be obedient to my spouse. I'm saying this both for men and women, although sometimes I'll be obedient to my husband as if it doesn't go the other way around. But just know that I'm talking about both husband and wife, because I believe both couples need to obey each other. Your wife needs to be able to make, as a man, your wife needs to be able to make certain requests and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to do what she asked me to do. So when you have that in mind and you are going into marriage, then find somebody who you have no problem with obeying. Okay, that is what it. Find somebody who you have no problem with obeying. Somebody who you think knows what they are doing. Somebody who you can trust. Somebody who you think is reasonable. Because if you end up marrying somebody who is not reasonable, that is where you are going to have a problem with obedience. And this is how I think even this conversation should be approached. Instead of people beating the drum of women should be obedient. I think the real conversation we should be having is telling women, look, don't just marry anybody. If you or anybody you feel you are in love with. How about considering the fact of, can I really obey this person? This person asked me to do something. Is this person, if you are dating somebody and this person does things in a way that you don't like and you find to be problematic and it's not something that you think is sensible and reasonable, I think that should make you pause and ask yourself, do I really want to go ahead and marry this person? Do I want to go ahead and marry somebody who I don't consider to be reasonable? And I think it's not a good idea to marry somebody who you don't consider reasonable, who does things in a way that you're like, no, I don't like the way this person go about certain things. I don't like the way this person, lead his life or their life, whoever that, be it male or female, right? This is something that you should look out for so that you don't have issues with obeying whoever you get married to. Let me check some people in the comment. This is from Deluxe Sofa. Say, marry people you agree with politically, as that shows you generally think similar and know what each other wants. Think similarly. You generally think similarly and know what each other wants. That is true. Lisa T said that's fair advice. Thank you. Today I'm a marriage counselor. This is my marriage counselor hat. Although I wear it for other things, but for today, this is the hat of a marriage counselor. Who knows? Maybe moving on in the future, people will be asking me questions. I'll be like, yeah, this is what you do with your marriage right now. This is from Josh. She said, agreed. You need to at least know if you have a basis to build something solid and long-lasting. Yes, and I believe finding your spouse reasonable is that basis. It's one of those things you need to consider, because if you don't find your spouse reasonable, I don't even know how you people can move forward. There's something the Bible says, can two do anything? Can two come together, do anything together except they agree? Okay, you need to have agreement. If this is somebody that you don't agree with for the most part, the way this person is living is not the way you like. There are so many things the person do that you have problem with, that you find questionable. and then you go ahead and marry the person, and you expect that they will not make demands that you will find completely unreasonable. That's how you, for me, that's how you that's recipe for disaster in marriage or in any relationship. I don't, even when you have friends, if you have friends that are unreasonable, they will often drive you to do unreasonable things. Or if you have friends that you consider unreasonable, they will drive you to do things that you consider unreasonable. You know. All right, let's continue. Let's see what other question Pearl have for Trent.
So what do you define as rational?
In accord with reason. So something that doesn't go against what reason would dictate.
Can I have an example?
Of
So
something,
like I'm assuming crimes.
of
Like,
something that's rational or irrational.
yeah, irrational.
Yeah, if a husband says
Like
that-
obviously no crimes, right?
yeah, or if a husband says, I want you to lose a massive amount of weight, for example, that would put someone's, if your husband wants you to do something to change your body that would put your health at risk, I would say that's irrational.
Okay, but a normal amount of weight would be fine.
I would say
Right.
I would say I think it's fine for husbands and wives to want each other to be healthy, but it's very quickly that if a husband or a wife asks for a person to be of a certain weight, that can easily be more of out of a desire for vanity than for the other person's well-being.
But what about health?
What about health? I think it's
Yeah.
fine. I think it's good for husbands and wives to want each other to be healthy.
No, but I'm asking the husband. Why do you always bring it back to the husband? Because I'm asking about the.
Anyway, they are talking now. Although they will repeat this question and they will revisit this issue of weight over and over again. And for Hannah Pearl Davis, she feels if a woman is overweight, that is clear sign that she's in a bad marriage and the man is not having a good deal out of the marriage, and the man is just waiting to leave the marriage because his wife is overweight. That's the end. That is bad for Hannah Pearl Davis. That is bad. An overweight wife is bad. As a Nigerian, I want to tell you right now, in this country, in this beautiful country, most of the married women in this country are overweight. Like, they are overweight. Some are like in between being overweight and being morbidly obese. Okay? And I don't think they are in bad marriages. I don't think they're in bad marriages. Now, I'm not saying that being overweight is a good thing. I think both spouses should aspire to be healthy, to manage their weight, But guys also need to be considerate. I mean, if a woman, gets pregnant, have a child, it's usually after that you begin to see them, put on a lot of weight. This is something that's kind of like the trend. What I've noticed is after their first child, you see them get bigger and bigger like that, and then after they are done giving birth, like how they give birth in Nigeria is once somebody get married, for the first like few years of the marriage, you just see them focus on childbearing for the first few years. So for those few years, you just see the wife, have extra, she'll be overweight for this period. And then once she's done having children, you see most women then start, trying to reduce their weight, something like that. So for the first 10 years of your marriage, you will have to deal with an overweight wife. What are you going to do about it? This is Nigeria. Mind you, people always say, in the West have forgotten the traditional standard of how marriage should look like. And I believe that Nigeria still holds on to the traditional standard of marriage, according to Nigerian tradition anyway. And I'm telling you now that based on Nigerian tradition, women are often overweight. And the man has to deal with it. It's something that is expected. Your wife is going to put on some weight during the course of the marriage. It's going to happen. And but for Pearl, it really seems like a serious issue. And I don't understand why. I don't know if those men who see having an overweight wife or having a wife that put on extra weight during the course of the marriage, that see it as a bad thing. Why? What are you expecting? That if your wife gets pregnant and she, delivers a child and she has a couple of children, that over time she's not going to, get, put on extra weight? You think that's not going to happen? She's always going to look, slim for life. And is that not vain? Is that not vain? Is that not in itself vain? Is it not you trying to compare your wife to certain standard of beauty? And is it a good thing? Because for me, I don't think it is. I think people should be gracious. People should be understanding. And if you want your wife to be healthy, which is a good thing, you can motivate her. You can, work out together. I think that's a good way to, try and reduce, get your wife to lose weight, the two of you going for workouts together, doing things together is kind of, for me, how I get to to stay focused and do certain things that need to be done.
Wife. I didn't ask you about the husband.
Because I'm
So
saying
I'm saying for the husband, can he ask that his wife?
I want to answer this question. This is from Nicholas Paulson. So I thought it was part of African beauty model that women should be a little on the heavy side. Yes, so yes. Many Nigerian men like, women who are a little bit on the heavy side, like you said. Okay, this is someone responding to it. I want to see them. This is from us. He said, the man is avoiding the question. Most men are not telling their wives to lose weight that will affect their health. If you want your wife to lose weight, I think it's a simple thing. If you want your wife to lose weight, then it's fair enough. It's a fair request. I don't think it's a bad request, but there's the amount of weight that you want her to lose that is like, okay, is this reasonable? Is this a reasonable request? This amount of weight you want your wife to lose after she just finished giving birth to your first son, is it reasonable? And people are like, yeah, but people do it all the time. Losing weight is very easy. What do you want her to do? To take Ozempic? What exactly do you want her to do? I don't know why this comment is important. let me respond to a super chat. This is from Jazz. Trust being able to talk to one another, someone who you can feel safe with when vulnerable. You should be good for each other, compliment one another in positive ways. Yeah, definitely. Those are things people should look out for in a marriage, or when they want to get married, to look out for in the person they want to consider as a life partner. These are things they should look out for. Definitely. Anyways, let's go back to what Pro is saying.
Wife stays a certain weight. Is that rational? Bring it.
be more of it out of a desire for vanity than for the other person's well-being.
But what about health?
What about health? I think it's fine. I think it's good for husbands and wives to want each other to be healthy.
No, but I'm asking the husband. Why do you always bring it back to the husband? Because I'm asking about the wife. I didn't ask you about the husband.
Because I'm saying
for the husband, can he ask that his wife stays a certain weight? Is that rational?
It's rational for him to ask her to be healthy, but staying at a certain weight your entire life, that's not necessarily going to be healthy. Like saying, "Oh, I want you to always be 100."
Yeah, that is also a point to it. Like, I want you to remain this body size forever. Is it possible? Is it possible for people to maintain the same body size throughout their life? To maintain this body size forever? That's not a reasonable request. I don't think that is reasonable at all. That is not a reasonable request.
20 pounds, like, hey, I got pregnant. Oh, you're kind of getting past that now. I don't like that. That would be irrational.
He would not be allowed to do that under your thought.
I think it would be insane if a man said that his wife needs to stay at a certain.
Why?
Why?
Like, what's wrong with men having standards? What's wrong with that?
Pearl, you do realize that it's absolutely, like, literally there was a joke in The Office where BJ Novak says some supermodels lose weight when they're pregnant. That shows that he's just an insane chauvinistic person. To demand that a wife stay at a certain weight, even though as you get older you naturally gain weight, and especially when you get pregnant you gain at least 9 pounds of weight, that would be insane to demand that someone stay at a certain weight.
Women lose it all the time.
I fail to see how any of this is relevant to marriage, by the way.
Well, I'm trying.
Exactly. This whole weight conversation is so vain. Like, asking your wife to be healthy is one thing. Asking your wife to maintain a particular body size is another thing. That is vain. It is so vain. There is nothing else you will tell me to convince me that wanting your wife to stay to maintain a particular body size is you wanting her to be healthy. No, that's not you wanting her to be healthy. That is you wanting to satisfy your vanity. It is vain. And people need to be reasonable. That is not a reasonable request. That she will not, throughout the course of her life, after childbirth and everything, she would forever remain the same. No, it's not possible. Yes, people should try to be healthy. Women, both men and women, women even. Let us since Pro wants us to focus on women. Yes, women should strive to be healthy because most of them, when you talk about the obesity epidemic, is more amongst women. Fair enough. And women should strive to control, their body size and not, just let themselves go. They should try and, stay fit, stay healthy. Yes. Okay. But staying fit and healthy does not mean maintaining a body size for the same body size throughout your existence on this planet, And then she's like, oh, but can't men have standard? Isn't that unreasonable? Isn't that reasonable? You see, if somebody wanting something that is unreasonable is not the same thing as somebody wanting. Yes, you're allowed to do that as a man. You can have that. Nobody is going to beat you, right? If a man says, "No, I want a woman that is going to look like this from the beginning of the marriage till the end," fine. You can have that standard. Nobody is going to like punch the standard out of you. You can keep that, okay? But one thing is certain is that except you are going to marry a trophy wife. Who is going to and you have to be wealthy, okay? And you are going to end up in a vain relationship where the woman is just an award, a trophy wife, something you show off to your friends, and you use to satisfy your vanity. There won't be any meaningful thing to come out of that relationship because you're already basing it on something that is vain. If this is what you are considering in a marriage, you are being vain. And you are a vain person, and your relationship, your marriage will be a serious vanity. And if a man, I will go out to say, yes, men can have whatever standards they want to have. Like all this conversation of can't men have standard? Of course they can. Go ahead and have whatever ridiculous standard you want to have. But as a woman, if you have a man who is this superficial, who is based on surface things and wants you to, and is so obsessed with you remaining a particular, having this particular shape forever. I'm not talking about somebody who wants you to be healthy. I'm talking about somebody who wants you to look a certain way forever. Is a clear indication that this person is vain. And that this person's view of marriage is a vain view of marriage. Is tainted with a lot of vanity, a lot of superficial nonsense. And he's going to be making superficial demands. And this person is going to be an expert in making a mountain out of a molehill. This is going to be a serious expert in doing that. That is what, when people get married, expect those kind of ridiculous, mundane requests. And the person making it look like you not fulfilling those requests is like you stabbing him in the back. Expect it.
To understand is your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't men have standards in marriage? Because if you're saying that men can't have standards in their own marriage, like you're saying it's irrational for a guy to
you can have standards, Paul. You can have a standard, whatever standard you want to have it. And I can look at your standard and say it is superficial, it is vain. That's not me taking away your right to have standard. When people talk like this, it's so annoying. When people say, can't men do this? Can't people say this? I'm like, dude, you can say it. Just go ahead and say it. But you are not going to dictate how people are going to react to whatever standard or principle you hold on to, whatever nonsense comes out of your mouth. Go ahead and say whatever you want to say. You have that right. But people are going to react the way they are going to react. Like, oh, you are going to have this superficial standard and then everybody is going to be okay with it. That is them. People act like they need permission to have standards. Like, oh, Frank Steven, with a single guy with one mic and one YouTube channel, have to grant every man permission. And if I say, no, that standard is ridiculous, that is me taking the right from every man to have whatever standard they want to have. No, go ahead and have your standard. I guarantee you, if you have the money and you have the means, whatever stupid standard you want to have for a wife, you are going to find a woman who will be willing and ready to fulfill it. Nobody is stopping you.
Demand his wife stay a certain weight. Why? Why is that
wrong? To stay
wrong?
A certain weight during their entire marriage?
Why? Why is that wrong?
Because
I've seen women do it.
Would you like me to answer the question?
Go ahead.
Okay. Because biologically, our bodies change over time. They'll naturally gain and lose weight in different circumstances. And your worth as a spouse, whether you are a husband or a wife, is not derived by your weight. That's just a shallow thing. Now, I think that both husbands and wives should
But it's your
encourage the
job to
other
be
to
attractive.
should encourage.
It's your job to be attractive.
I think husbands and
It's your
wives
job.
should both maintain
Yes,
but
attractiveness.
why do you always, like-
according to Hannah Pearl Davis, it's a woman's job in the marriage. When you get married, what a woman brings to the marriage, ladies and gentlemen, in case you are wondering, if as a woman, if you are listening, in case you are yet you are asking yourself, what do I bring to the marriage when I get married? You bring attractiveness. Oh, according to Pearl, that is what you bring to a marriage. Looking beautiful, looking cute. That is oh, Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not saying beauty is not a good thing. Like, if, as much as you can, you try and look beautiful, try and look presentable. I'm not saying, beauty is not a good thing. I'm not undermining it. It is. But to put this amount of weight on somebody looking attractive, that is why so many of these men end up with porn stars. Oh.
Why do you always have to bring it back? Because
Why do you only focus on women?
Right now, because we're asking about the deal for men.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this.
The deal for men, that is what men get. See, this is the problem I have with. I think even in this conversation is people not understanding what men benefit from marriage, what men start to gain from being married. Like that is I think that is the problem in this conversation, because for Hannah Pearl Davis, what a man stands to gain from being married is having a beautiful wife. Having a beautiful wife for her is the advantage, is the benefit that a man gets from marriage. The beauty of his wife is his benefit. And I'm not saying that there is no value. I'm not saying beauty is not valuable. It is. But is that the benefit of marriage? Beauty fades. Your wife, even if you married a beauty queen, she will not be beautiful forever. She will grow old. She will have wrinkles. She will not be beautiful forever. I'm talking about physical beauty. It's not going to be forever. The people don't understand. If you marry, if beauty is what is important and crucial to you when you are considering marriage, you should know that marriage, beauty is not forever. Beauty fades. Like the Bible says, like the flower of the field. It withers away. It will fade away. But for Hannah Pearl Davis, that is what a man stands to gain. That is what he stands to gain. This is from Nutrition with Maya. I say Pearl has no idea what she's talking about. Well, for her, she believes that she does. She believes that for men, she has, after speaking, as a podcaster who has spoken to over 1 billion men, she has come to the conclusion that every man is looking for a beautiful wife, and beauty is really what men want in a marriage. Beauty is what that's the satisfaction, the benefit that they get from women when they get married. So if they are not getting that, it means they are in a bad marriage. And there's nothing more beautiful than a woman who stays a particular shape for the rest of her life. Okay? And she cannot maintain her shape, look a certain way for the rest of her life, and then she starts looking not as beautiful as she used to be. The man is losing. How will he be going out, working 9 to 5, providing for his family, only to come home to a wife who have put on 5 pounds? That is pathetic. That is tragic. That is him suffering in his marriage. That's bad. That is him just enduring. Okay? According to this genius over here.
From the man's point of view, what does the man get out of it?
What does a man? Okay, this is Hannah Pearl Davis' question, and let me try and answer it. What does a man get out of marriage? Okay, he gets to have a meaningful relationship that is going to help him do something on earth that will outlive him. And I'm not talking about having businesses. Not all of us is going to be Elon Musk, right? Not all of us is going to have that big business that everybody is going to talk about. But one thing that most of us are going to do is to be able to raise children, right? Who are going to, carry on our legacy, who we are going to impact something on and work on, that even while we are gone, what we have done, when we are gone, what we've done in the lives of these children will speak for us, will be a testament to the fact that we are at one point on this planet, and this is the impact that we had on our children, for example. Now, there are many ways you can do that, but having a child is one of those ways where you're able to directly impact into someone's life. And being married gives you that opportunity to do that. also it helps you get matured. Being married matures a man. Okay? Many people believe that they are matured until they get married, and then they realize that they are not. Okay? It makes you get matured. It builds character in you. It builds responsibility. It gives you a deep sense of responsibility that you may not have previously. Right? It makes you responsible. Being married, and this is the deal that men get out of marriage. Responsibility, learning maturity, contributing to their posterity. Okay? Growing that's the same thing with maturity. And finding fulfillment. Okay? Getting to share your life with somebody. Okay? You get to share that. There is value in sharing your life with somebody. That is, for me, that is one of the crucial, most important things about marriage, that you get to share your life with somebody, that when everyone else is gone, this person is there for you. That is the value of marriage. Okay, it's not beauty. It's not when everyone else is gone. This is the beauty. Look, I've seen there are men that are married to very beautiful women, but they are living in hell. Jesus Christ, they are living in hell. She's beautiful, but it's hell.
Good deal.
He gets a woman.
Ask for an in-shape wife.
He gets a woman who
can't even say 120
Can I answer the question?
pounds?
Can I answer the question?
I'm asking.
Yeah,
I'm asking.
And she puts on this ridiculous laugh, like she's making a great point. And I'm like, dude, if only she knows how ridiculous she sounds. Paul is that person who says ridiculous stuff and yet doesn't know that she has no clue that she's sounding really ridiculous. That to the average sensible human being, they're like, Paul, what you are saying does not make sense. It doesn't. I don't know why you are laughing. You think you are making a good point, but you are not. This your question is exposing how shallow you are. And you are laughing about it because you think, oh, he can't even ask for a fit wife. He can't even ask for a slim wife. Why can't men have standard? Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm going to be saying a lot of Jesus Christ. For those who don't like it, bear with me. This is a super chat from Ray Jakes. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Her own advice has never worked on her. The men with the standards she claims have not picked her. Exactly. This is one. I remember watching one video on YouTube. The title of the video is The Unpickable Pick Me. The person was calling Pearl Davis the unpickable pick me. And I think that's a very wonderful description. Unpickable pick me. That's what I'm not. The goal of this anyway is not to just bash Pearl. That's an easy thing to do, but it's just to make us understand something that of course, yes, it's good for a woman to be beautiful. Beauty is a good thing. It's a very wonderful thing. It's good. It's an addition. It's an advantage. There is something that comes with beholding someone, a man beholding a beautiful woman. I believe that there is value in that. Okay, but it's a fleeting, shallow thing at the end of the day, compared to other important things. Okay? Value is in comparison, right? If I tell you that something is $5, for you to understand the value of $5, you have to think of what else can $5 buy. That gives you an idea of the value of $5 because you have to compare things. Things have their value in comparison to other things. Beauty is valuable, but in comparison to other things you get out of marriage that is important in marriage, it is not that important. There are women that are not beautiful. I will say it. Yes, let me be the first man on the planet to admit it. There are women that are not beautiful. Okay? When I mean beautiful, I don't mean like they are okay, but they are not like they are okay, but they're not Angelina Jolie. You understand what I'm saying? Not every woman is Angelina Jolie. Not every woman is stunning. Is figure eight and everything. Not every woman is like that. But there are women who know how to make up for what they are lacking. They know how to make up for that with something else. And let me tell you, most of these unattractive, so-called unattractive women make good wives. Oddly enough. So if beauty is what you are looking for, you end up marrying, I'm telling you, you end up marrying Ezebo. Let me speak like an Igbo man. Ezebo Jezebel. What I go, you end up marrying confirmed. The Nigerian in me is coming out. You end up marrying serious certified Jezebel. The one that will bring ruin to your kingdom.
It's a woman who's promised to stay with him, even though statistically he'll gain 30 or 40 pounds.
And that because
does she have the right?
Women's job has far more of a job to be beautiful than men. You know, men's job is to protect and provide.
So do women
like
have a right
what
to?
is wrong?
So for Hannah Pearl Davis, it's okay if a man is out of shape, if a man is fat and looking like you know, if a man is so out of shape, it's okay, it's fine. You know, because I mean, it's not his job to be beautiful. Women don't value beauty in men. Only men value beauty. Women do not. Even she as a woman, as she's saying that thing, I'm like, I understand many men, most men are not, you know, we are not Henry Cavill, and we are okay with it. We are fine with it. We learned early on in our lives to be comfortable in our skin and be okay with how ugly we are, and not try to you know, gas ourselves up, right? I get that men are like that, like, you know, sometimes even our unattractive appearance is what even makes us even more attractive sometimes. But that's beside the point. The point is there are handsome men, okay? And women value, like, they get value from that. There is a value that comes from a man being attractive. If there is no value in that, then many of these men that I know that have zero acting skills but are making, they are getting roles in Hollywood just simply because they are beautiful, or will I say they are handsome. Okay? There are many women that are tuning into certain shows because it features a handsome man. Because women are they find value in a man that is attractive. But Pearl understands. She understands that beyond just the man being handsome, right? There are other things that he provides, like financial provision, you know, leadership provision, things that a man can provide. She sees for men, she expects something that is not shallow. But for women, she's like, nah, there is no. Women are defined by every shallow thing a man can get from them. And she does not see how that does not play into her just buying into the whole, you know, misogynistic standards that are being placed on, and expectations that are being placed on women. And she's a woman herself, and she's like, yes, as a woman, that is all I am what? Beauty. That is all I am what? Yeah, a man can be ugly, but it's fine. At least he can provide. I'm like, okay. And a woman cannot provide anything beyond just her beauty?
With a man asking that she stays a certain weight.
Because it's shallow. It's fine to ask someone to be healthy, and it's fine to encourage your spouse to maintain attractiveness, not to just let yourself go. But that's the same for husbands and wives. Neither should just let themselves go. But at the same time, each one should be merciful, knowing that time and age come for all of us.
The reason that the obesity, I've looked that up before, the reason that the men are more overweight than women is because you don't look at visceral fat. So like when men are very high, like muscle percentage, they're still considered overweight more so than women. So a more accurate way to look at that is visceral fat. And women have higher rates of visceral fat than men. So actually women are more, and if you look at extreme obesity, women are more obese. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know why you're like kind of lying with that stat, trying to act like men are equally obese. They're not.
Well, men are still overweight, but that still doesn't show none of that shows marriage is a bad deal for men.
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker.
Should men marry women with STDs?
I wouldn't say. Here,
should men marry women that have had an abortion? Well, this is how I answer the question. This is my answer for the question. To the question, rather. If you are a man and you have paid for abortion, let me speak like a Nigerian. If you're a man and you have paid for abortion, thunder will fire you if you say you will not marry a woman that has had an abortion. As in, God is hearing me make this declaration. I'm telling you, real thunder will locate you if you say you will not marry a woman that has had an abortion. You don't get to have that standard. No, you don't. If you have paid for an abortion in this life, if you have opened your wallet or brought out your ATM or whatever it is that you used to pay for it, and you paid for a woman to get an abortion, no, you don't, or you pressure her, you encouraged her, you advised her, your own child, though, you advise her to have an abortion. Then in the future, you say, no, I want to marry a woman who has no, thunder. Thunder will locate you. No. You don't. That is one standard that it should be a criminal offense. Okay? Felony for any man to say he doesn't want to. In fact, that is the only woman that you should get to marry. If you want to get married, that's the only woman that you should get to marry. Okay? Now, for the average human being, most of whom have not paid for an abortion before, should you marry a woman who has had an abortion? Well, it depends. It really does depend. Now, I get it if you are that person who is like, if you're a man and you're like, no, I cannot do that. Fine, I will not even judge you, especially if you're someone who has not paid for a woman to have an abortion before. Okay, if you have that standard, I will be fair enough. I will be okay with it 100%. I will not put it over and be like, how dare you? But I don't think a man, this is how I will say it, I don't think a man is making a bad choice if he marries a woman who has had an abortion before. It depends. Okay, it's not just a single factor that you consider when you want to marry a woman. Oh, she has had an abortion before then. Oh, game over. There are other things. What if she has changed? What if she's not the person that she was back then? Okay, what if back then she was in going through a phase or was a terrible person and she has changed and it is visible. This is a change that is visible. This is somebody who you consider to be reasonable, to be kind, to be a changed person, and you guys have a serious connection. Right, there's that chemistry, and you find that this person, you and this person, you guys share the same value. This is not somebody who has had an abortion before and is proud of it. This is somebody who did it at one point, even though they did it multiple times at that point. But at one point she did that, but now she regrets her life choice, and she recognized that she did something bad, and she's not proud of it. She's not like one of those women who is like throwing an abortion party. Okay, this is somebody who is not proud of the choice that they've made. And you recognize that and see the growth and the change that has happened in this person's life, and how this person is no longer what they used to be. I mean, if you go ahead and marry that person, it's not a wrong thing. You are not making a wrong choice. People's past do not automatically, disqualify them forever. I get it if it's something that you as an individual on your own, you cannot overlook. Fine. But I'm just saying, if somebody does decide to go ahead and marry that person is not a simp. It's not somebody who is settling. It's not somebody who is, you see, the quality of women, the value of a woman. The point I'm trying to make at the end of the day is that the value of a woman is not irredeemable because she has had an abortion. Because people like Paul will say, once a woman has had an abortion, she's unwifeable. You can't wife this kind of. No, it's not true. She's not beyond redemption. And that's how that's pretty much how I see the idea of a woman marrying somebody who has had an abortion.
And have herpes. Should men marry them?
I'm going to answer.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to answer your question. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker.
Should men?
None of that shows marriage is a bad deal for men. Next question:
should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker.
Should men marry women with STDs?
I wouldn't say. Here,
a quarter of women have herpes. Should men marry them?
I'm going to answer.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to answer your question. I would say, just as it is not a disqualifier for if a man facilitated an abortion, and 90% so for every woman who chooses to get an abortion, 90% of the time, the man is actively or passively supporting it. So just as it's not a deal breaker for a woman.
I'm asking for the future man. I'm not saying that he asked her to abort this is another man's kid. She's had an abortion.
No, what I'm saying is I'm applying an equal standard here. So I would say that it is not a deal breaker for a man to marry a woman who's had an abortion, just like it's not a deal breaker for a woman to marry a man who had facilitated an abortion.
Should
And I
men
agree with
marry
that.
women that have slept with over 10 men?
And I agree with that. If a man paying for abortion is not a deal breaker, it does not disqualify the man, does not make him a low value man, then a woman having an abortion does not make her a low value woman. It's that simple. That's how I see it. And granted, like this viewer is saying, abortion is evil. 100%. It is. Abortion is evil. Condemned, as in I condemn the practice. It is wrong. It is bad. It is evil. Amongst other evil things, this is one thing that I consider really evil, because it's extinguishing a life when the life is at the most vulnerable state. You talk about caring for the most vulnerable in society. An unborn child is the most vulnerable in society. And abortion is killing that child, killing that life. So yes, it is 100% wrong and evil. Okay. And I can understand, like he followed up by saying it's a deal breaker for me. I can understand if you consider it a deal breaker. But I'm saying that if you are somebody who has paid for it, for me, I'm like, that is very hypocritical if you're like, it's a deal breaker for me, but I've paid for it. Now, I'm not saying you have this, the user who made this comment, I'm not saying you have paid for it, but I'm saying if anyone has paid for it, and then it's like, abortion is a deal breaker, I'm like, nah, not for you. For you, in the name of Jesus, I declare that it is not a deal breaker. Say amen. So that's just kind of how I see it. And and I believe people should apply equal standards, right? If it is bad for a woman to have an abortion, it's also equally bad for a man to procure abortion.
Fun.
Should they marry someone who's slept with over 10 men?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that when you have more sexual partners, that's definitely that's something that's concerning. That could be a red flag.
So you would say no?
But that doesn't apply. I'm not going to say that someone is unmarriageable because of one particular trait.
What about porn?
Okay, what
about
porn?
women that have participated in porn? Should men?
Should a woman with a high body count, is a woman with a high body count marriageable? Okay. The answer is simple. Is a man with high body count marriageable? If your answer to that is no, then your answer to the other should be no as well. If a man with high body count is unmarriageable, then a woman with high body count is unmarriageable. It's that simple. If you think a woman who has slept with 10 men should not be wifed, so let me use the new verb that has been introduced into the marriage conversation. If you believe that a woman who has slept with 10 men should not be wifed, then a man who has slept with 10 women should not be husbanded. You shouldn't marry a man who has slept, is not somebody that should be married. The problem is people, of course, then the red pill guys will be like, oh, you see, it is different for men, it is not the same for women, blah blah. I'm like, please miss me with the BS. Show me one study, show me one scientific study that demonstrates that high body count for men is different from high body count for women. Like sociologically, psychologically, mentally, physically. Show me something that demonstrates that there is a huge, significant difference between high body counts in a man having a high body count and a woman having it. Don't give me those ridiculous explanation of, oh, when a man have multiple, when he sleeps with multiple women, it's just like a handshake. It's not really that deep. But for a woman, it is deep. Oh, I will tell you now. There are so many women. Well, I'm not saying like a huge portion of women, but there are women that have sex with people and it is just physical. There is nothing attached to it. It is just physical. But having multiple partners affects a woman just as much as it affects a man. Just as much as it does affect a man, it also affects a woman. You talk about pair bonding. It's the same for, okay, not exactly the same, but within the same range. The effect is within the same range, both for men and for women. Are you talking about exposure to STDs where you have multiple sex partners? The same for men and for women. What else is the other thing that is associated with having a high body count? It means that this person does not have self-control. Guess what? It applies to both men and women. If a woman with a high body count is someone who does not know how to control herself sexually, a man with high body count is also a man who does not know how to control himself sexually. Any person who has had a high body count, whatever it tells you about that person, man or woman, is the same. It's the same. So if you think that a woman is irredeemable if she has slept with, if irredeemable and cannot be married, if she has slept with 10 men in the past, then a man is irredeemable and cannot be married if he has slept with 10 women in the past.
Marry women that have participated in porn.
I would say that that's definitely a red flag, but it is not a necessarily. It's not a deal
Do you
breaker.
have a son?
Can I answer the questions, Pearl? Because you can keep asking questions and I'll never answer
Because
them.
it just would be easier if I got a yes or no. Because you keep giving me these roundabout, and I'm just at yes
no,
or no.
I'm giving you good answers.
Go
okay,
ahead.
so I'd like to finish
Go
about
ahead,
pornography.
Go ahead.
I would say it's not a deal breaker if a woman had participated in pornography. Much the same way, it is not a deal breaker. Well, it's something to be very, very worried about. So I'll answer it this way. It's very hard for me to find anything that's a deal breaker for marriage, except for maybe diagnosed severe mental illness, for example, or addiction to drugs, things like that. But that would apply to men and women. So when it comes to pornography, I would say it's very concerning if you have if a woman had previously engaged in pornography, just like it is very concerning if a woman chooses to marry a man who's previously viewed pornography.
But this is my question. It's like, why can't men have standards?
You see, this is the funny thing. She just talked about pornography, and he just gave a very good answer with regards to women who have been involved in porn. It's like, okay, what if a woman who has, okay, a woman having a history of being in the porn business, does that automatically disqualify her? This is something I want people to understand about so many of these women who are in porn. There is a problem for so many of them to leave the industry, right? There are so many of them who have been in that and they've realized that they've made a mistake and they find themselves trapped in the porn industry. There are many women like that who find themselves trapped. And do you know why they find themselves trapped? It's because of this mindset. That is, people like that, they are damaged forever. They are damaged forever. There is no hope for them. It's over for them. Okay, it's done. They are done for. They are good for. The only thing they are good for is to keep making porn. So the mindset that Pearl have about people in the porn industry is what is going to keep women in that industry and unable to get out. And not just women, also men as well. It's going to keep people in that industry and unable to get out because they feel outside of the industry they are useless. They cannot do anything again with their life. Now, is porn bad? It goes without saying that porn is bad. It's terrible. It's something that you should not do. It's something you should not engage in. I mean, how many ways can I demonstrate or express how evil porn is? We all get it. It is bad. Should people engage in it? No. Somebody who has not done it before and is considering it, should that person go ahead and get an OnlyFans or what have you? No, they should not. Porn is bad. Now that has been said, what about those who are in the industry? What should they do? Should they delete themselves? No, there is a way out. There is a way out. And I made a video about this in one of the videos I made, talking about this. And I'm like, this idea of seeing people who are trying to come out of that life and then trying to bash them. And I see people in the red. This is one of the things that I consider very demonic when I see people do it. This is somebody who is trying to come out of a destructive life choice, trying to make a U-turn, trying to turn their life right. Some of them even become Christians and are trying to walk with God and walk out of this. And then you have people like Paul heaping on them, saying, no, this person is beyond redemption. This person is damaged forever. This person should not speak again in public for the rest of their life. They should just go quiet and should never be seen again. There is nothing good that can ever come out of this person again. They are done for. Like, are you trying to push them back into that life? Are you actively trying? I don't know. What do you seek to achieve by doing that? to make yourself feel you look like you sound like the elder brother of the prodigal son. Like you want your others, maybe they make you feel good about yourself, right? These people who have lost the way, as long as they remain lost, there's something about your own identity that it feeds into, makes you feel like, yes, as long as that person is there who I can look down on, then I'll feel good about myself. To tell you how pathetic you yourself as an individual will be, that this is where you get a sense of, I don't know, whatever sense of whatever you get from it. People who have been who are involved in the porn industry, they are not damaged forever. They are not. Now, I'm not saying that I will marry. I'm not saying that I'm going to marry a porn star. Okay? And I'm not even, that's not what I'm saying. But they are not damaged forever. They are not.
And this is what I've noticed from the trad community and like the conservatives. It's like the quality of women keeps going down and down and down.
Well,
and we can't even definitively say, hey, maybe we
I'm
shouldn't
doing
marry
well.
porn
I'm
stars.
doing
Maybe
well.
we shouldn't marry overweight.
Roger, I'm doing well. I'm talking about wonderful Hannah Pearl Davis. I'm doing well, by the way.
Women. You know, it's like we constantly get rid of standards for men.
No, I'm fine with standards as long as
we can't even no, you're not, because you're not even definitively saying you shouldn't marry a porn star. You would never in a million years tell your son to marry a porn star.
An active, currently working porn star.
Even a previous
you said
porn
you said
star.
former.
Even former. You would never. Come on, someone you loved.
Okay.
And this is why.
You can keep talking, or you can ask me a question, because I was going to say I do believe in standards, Pearl. I just believe they should be applied equally. So if women have a past in porn and that makes them unmarriageable, fine. Then we should just say any man who's looked at porn, don't marry him either.
The equal.
Is it okay for men to look at porn?
You can ask that during your cross-examination.
The equal equivalent would be a man that's participated in porn. That would be the equal equivalent if we're really going to go apples to apples here.
No. Oh, fair enough. You can say that. You can say, oh, men the what is equal to a woman who has done porn is also a man who has. But also, what does that say about people who watch it? What does that say about them? Are they marriageable to people who a man who was once addicted to pornography? Is that man marriageable? Sela.
But what I'm asking is, okay,
and there's lots of men who participate in porn that way.
You know, a quarter of women, up to a third, have an STD. Should men marry them?
Should they marry them?
Yeah.
Just the same reasons would apply if you asked women, should they marry men who have STDs? Because men have lots of STDs. And if it's okay to marry them.
But why is it, what about the men? It's like the
because men and women are equal. Men and women are equal.
Pearl is shocked by the fact that of applying equal standards. Pearl is like, how dare an individual say standards should be applied equally? If a woman is unmarriageable because she has an STD or she has had multiple STDs, then the same applies to a man. She's like, what? Why should equal standards exist? My God, equal? Why? No, men should be allowed to have countless STDs, but a woman should not. You know, why? How dare you expect a man to not have STDs? Come on, he should have a couple, but a woman should have none, because that's her value. Her value is her not having STDs. That is where her value lies. A man who has multiple STDs is not unvaluable. His value has not depreciated one bit. But a woman with even quarter of an STD, that is damaged good. She's damaged forever. Pearl is shocked that people would request or consider equal standards for both men and women. That's shocking.
We should treat them equally.
It's the crazy. I don't think men and women are equal.
Are they equal in value and dignity?
No,
Sorry, just real quick. Trent, you can ask questions in your cross-examination.
Sure.
Yeah. Pearl, so
I'm not coming at this from a religious point of view. What I am saying is that you keep telling men to lower their standards, because you were saying wife up these whores. 3% of women, 100 years ago, men got a
and that is another thing about Hannah Pearl Davis. She think a woman who has had multiple sex partners in the past, a woman who has had a couple of STDs is a whore. is damaged goods and it cannot be married. These people, but a man who has done that, the man himself is not a whore. The man is not unmarriageable. A woman who finally settles down for that man or settles with that man is not, marrying a prostitute, a male prostitute. No, he's not. But a man who does that to a woman is marrying a female prostitute. That is Hannah Pearl Davis' standard. And she's like, you are telling men who are whores to marry women who are whores. How dare you? How dare you? You are telling these men, these sexually depraved men to marry sexually depraved women. How dare you? No, sexually depraved men should marry women who are virgins. That is what should happen.
Virgin. They got a virgin, 4+ kids. 3% of women are waiting till marriage nowadays. You're saying wife them up anyway. Doesn't matter the risk. Who cares?
Do you have a question, Pearl?
So yeah, I'm gonna go back to STD is not a deal breaker. Yes or no?
No, they're not. If they're not a deal breaker for men, they're not a deal breaker for women.
Okay. On top of that, porn not a deal breaker.
Having been involved in pornography.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a deal breaker, but it's something to be very concerned about. The same as if a man had been behind the camera doing OnlyFans work.
See, to be fair, if a woman has had a history of doing pornography, it is a concern. It's something that if you want to go into that marriage, you should be concerned about. It's something that is concerning. Nobody is going to act like it's not a huge deal. It's not a big deal. Okay, it's something that should concern. Like if you that's the kind of thing that you ask a man. I hope you know what you are getting yourself involved in. I hope you know what you are doing. I hope you are sure. It's something that you want the man to be sure of, to understand fully what he's getting himself involved in and what comes with it. Okay, marrying somebody who is a former porn star, there are a couple of things that comes with it. And if a man is willing to, despite many of the things that come with that, say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and marry this person, that man is not making a terrible choice. Because people are always making it look like if a man does certain things when it has to do with marriage, as per marrying a particular woman who has done something like this or like that in the past, then he's making a terrible choice. That's not always the case. That is actually not always the case.
Working at OnlyFans, but if he's truly repented, then people can really change, and we should give them mercy, whether they're a man or a woman.
People can change, but it doesn't mean they statistically do.
Mm-hmm.
And women that have made those decisions, statistically, the grass. Statistically, it's not a happy ending for most of them. So that's
for everybody is not a statistics. Okay, this is everybody is not a statistics. And in this conversation, people like throwing statistics up and down, but human beings are not statistics. Okay, that 60% of people who have been in the porn industry get married and the marriage doesn't end, but does not mean if you find one person who is that one person you are talking to, or that one person you are considering, is a representation of that statistics. Everybody, despite the existence of statistics, people are individuals, and there are also individual factors about them that can make them not follow the trend of a particular statistics. Human beings are not statistics. Okay, we are not numbers.
The other question: why would you sign up? Would you ever sign a business contract that someone's paid to leave? So if me and you are going to do business, and I get a bunch of money and your children if I leave, you would sign that contract.
If you get my children, because maybe we're pairing our YouTube channels together, probably not going to sell off my kids on that. But it's very common in business deals, Pearl, where if you have a high value.
This is one of those stupid questions that these red pill guys, or like call them black pilled guys. This is one of those questions that they ask. That I think is very ridiculous. And I'm like, these people have no understanding of how contracts work. Okay, there are contracts that have in them clauses where people are paid if they leave, depending on what the clause of that contract is. People enter those contracts, and there are reasons why those clauses are included in the contract. Okay, all this talk of, will you enter into a contract where your partner is paid to leave? It depends on what the contract is about. Okay, there are there are contracts like that. There are people entered into those contracts regularly. The question you should ask yourself is not, is somebody paid to leave? Is what is the benefit of entering that contract? Why is that clause included in that contract? And why is it necessary? Okay? So all this talk of would you enter into a contract where your partner is paid to leave? Any person who is asking that question, just know that person has never signed on a dotted line before. You have not. You've not made contractual negotiations and talk about terms of what the contract will be like. Because if you have and you've done that repeatedly, you recognize that there are contracts, there are agreements that come with certain clauses that if somebody should decide, the person who is deciding to leave will be paid, depending on the period and other factors that will be put in place that need to exist for that clause to be activated. So that is a ridiculous, but it will not. Trust me, they are going to keep repeating that question, thinking it's a gotcha question, because people don't think.
Business partner, and you really want them to be a part of the venture, you might include things like a buyout clause or severance pay. That's not that uncommon to ameliorate risks or to encourage them to take part in the project.
Okay, so would you sign the contract or no?
Would I sign a contract?
Mm-hmm.
You've made it very
where I'm paid to leave.
Where you're paid to leave if you're my business partner.
Mm-hmm.
It depends how much and what risk. Why
can't you answer the question?
Because
the question is vague. What are the terms of the contract? Why does the contract exist? That's just asking somebody that kind of question, thinking is a very straightforward. It's not a straightforward question. What kind of contract are we talking about? What are the clauses in that contract? Am I the one benefiting? Is there a reason why that clause that allow the person to be paid to leave exists? These are other things that you need to consider before saying, you don't just throw that blanket. Yes, it depends. It all depends on what that contract is about. What are the benefits that come to, how is that contract structured? Am I benefiting? Is it really beneficial? Those are things that you consider. You don't just say, oh, no, it's bad. Don't enter into that contract. You have to check so many things. Before entering into any contract, you check so many things. Not just, just the fact that your partner is paid to leave. It's like, deal breaker. I can't enter into this contract. Trust me, you will not enter so many contracts.
Is underdefined and it can't be answered. You've asked it in a very vague way, so I can only give a vague answer. And
okay, me and you sign a business deal. And in that business deal, and in that business deal, I get your whole YouTube channel if I leave, and I get your children. Are you signing it?
No, I'm not.
Exactly. That's the point. No, you're not signing it.
Because you haven't.
And this is the thing. They act like it's one-off instances. And this is what the academics tend to do. They'll say, here's a study funded by this organization, or here's another study. And they want you to not believe what's in front of your eyes.
Pearl, your question is stupid. You just asked him, if me and you get into a contract, and if I leave the contract, I get your YouTube channel and I get your children. As what? Why will you get as what? Why will you get those? Why will you get my Pearl? You're not even my wife. Why will you get my children and my YouTube channel? What kind of contract is that will make you, Pearl, who is not my wife or anything to me? I don't even know what value you've brought that will make it that if you leave the contract, you get my YouTube channel and my children. Why will you get my children? As what that you are, that you get my children? And she's just like, you see, that's a got you question. You will not let me, because you are what? Did you give me those children? Are they your children as well? That you will get them and I will not have access to that. Are they your children as well? She's not even putting that out there. It's not even something that it's just this vague this vague, ridiculous question that she just asked, and it's like the reason why he's laughing is like, and I'm believing that the reason why Trent chuckled after the question was finished was like, this is a ridiculous question. What kind of ridiculous question is that? And she's like, you see, got you. My debate tactics is to ask my opponents ridiculous questions, and whenever he laughs at just how ridiculous they are, I'm like, that's my point. Men
are not signing up for marriage today. And you can say it's that marriage is a great deal for men, but men are naturally logical. They do what makes sense. 100 years ago, men were still men, same software. They married women in 3 months. There's a reason it's gone up to 3 years.
I would sign a contract where if you're undergoing significant risk, and the whole point of things that if a marriage divorces, is that women undertake risks. If they come and then they give up their careers and they stay home and raise children, for example, and they
The
do that
majority
for,
of women
and they,
aren't doing that.
and-
The majority of women are not doing that statistically. 3 out of 4 women are working. So
Okay.
it's not the majority.
the point is, if they go and do that and they
They're
take
not.
part in a marriage,
They don't want
you're
to.
going to be you're undertaking risks when you're involved in marriage. Well, as I
Mhm.
stated before, women are twice as likely to end up in poverty after divorce than men.
Yeah, because women are
30%.
bad with money.
No,
women,
what happens
women
is
are not. Women have
usually
80% of the world's
usually,
debt. Women have 80% of the world's debt. Women are not good with money. And many
As I
men,
showed in my opening statement, men have the majority of
and
debt.
many. That's not true. Women
I
have
cited a
80.
study
Women
on
have
that.
women have 80% of the world's debt. And the other thing that they don't take into account is that
in this country, men have more. But go ahead.
and women have 80% of the world's debt. Women are not great with money. And men earn more as well too.
This is another thing
And-
this is
and
another
think-
wonderful thing that Pearl just does. Oh, 80% of the world's debts are owned by women. Therefore, every woman is not good with debt. And in every situation that you see a woman in a terrible financial situation is because she's bad with money. Full stop. Because women all over the world, based on the stats that Pearl just stated, are all the same. They are all of them are all bad with money, including the women that I know that are expert penny pinchers. Women that Nigerian women that I know will pinch these pennies, eh? Oh my God. They will make sure that 10 naira will buy them the universe, including those women. They are even those ones, especially those ones, according to Pearl, are bad with money. You understand? Because of one statistic that she's citing, that 80% of the world's debts are owed by women. So, guys, any woman you see today, just know that she's bad with money. She's coming there to your life to eat your money, okay? This is not even about whether marriage is a good deal for men and for women anymore. It's just about women are terrible, they are horrible, they are bad with debt, they have no benefit whatsoever. And based on a couple of stats that I can pull out right now, therefore, every woman is represented in that statistics. Let us even ignore the ones, the people even in that stat that is because when they say 80% of the world's debt, it's not all every woman collectively that is owing that. It's just a few women, but it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. That is all women. That's how we use statistics over here, okay? And therefore, nobody should get married. These are the ridiculous distractions that people in the West are spending their time on, instead of thinking, how can we in a liberal society, with so many values that we have grown to appreciate, that have made us liberal, Western, advanced, progressive, how do we move forward with marriage and see how we can promote marriage in the face of so many ideologies that try to destroy marriage? How do we promote marriage? In the face of even laws that are not beneficial for marriage, how do we promote marriage? Instead of thinking of that, we have people like Paul who will spend all their life saying every woman is the same, doomed from the womb. Okay? Even before she was born, she was destined to just have debts. There's no point.
Is you're not addressing the suicide problem. Do you not think that's a problem?
Of course, suicide's a problem. It's more of a problem for men who never marry.
I'm asking in divorce. They're 9 times more likely to commit suicide after a divorce.
They're 9 times more likely than a divorced woman. You're misreading the statistic.
And in family court, if they find within 5 years, many men do commit suicide. What do you think? You think it's just made up? You think it's just fake? All these men that are saying my life is ruined.
Yes,
let him answer it. Go
ahead.
No, because I've actually read the studies,
Okay.
and the problem is
let me even say something about this thing about suicide or self-deletion that she brought up. One thing that I hate when people talk about suicide is blaming suicide on external factors. Any person who come and say I'm blaming suicide on external factors, I don't take you seriously. Because I know countless people who have been through the same thing that those persons who commit suicide have been through, and they've not killed themselves. So to make it look like, oh, it's because of a divorce that somebody... I'm not saying divorce cannot be horrible, cannot be bad. But most people who end up killing themselves are not mentally well. Don't blame people's mental illness on the fact that they are going through a divorce. Maybe the divorce could have, amplified it. But don't do that. The woman that they divorced, many of it doesn't. This is the same argument that people bring when they talk about gender affirming healthcare, right? Remember that argument? Oh, do you know that many of the people, if you don't castrate this child at 14, they will end up committing suicide? Don't you think it's something to consider when you talk about these children not having puberty blockers and having their penises chopped off? Don't you think you should consider the fact that if you don't cut off their genitalia, they are going to kill themselves? This is the same argument that Hannah Pro Davis is using. Oh, don't you see that during divorce, so many men who are mentally unstable end up killing themselves? So you're going to say men should, because every man who gets into marriage and gets divorced is going to jump off the roof the next week. You're just going to see them jump in, because we know there's this epidemic of divorced men killing themselves. It's a rising trend right now, right? Because that's what every man is going to do, end up killing himself. It's definitely the fault of the divorce that a man who is definitely mentally troubled is end up killing himself. You should blame it on the woman and the fact that she left. Even though it may be that in certain situations where the man end up killing himself, he's also an abusive husband, doesn't care for the children, is pathetic, is an alcoholic, is going through a lot of stuff. And then the wife leaves him and then he's like, oh, I'm going to kill myself. And they're like, yeah, blame it on the woman. This kind of mentality, the West should not, I consider this type of conversations and this type of debate a distraction. It is a huge distraction from better conversations that should be had about marriage. It's a huge distraction. This is not what the West, listen, I will not ignore the fact that even in Nigeria right now, the state of marriage is not great. It's not ideal. It's not like what if I close my eyes and I imagine marriage in my imaginary utopic world, that this is what it is right now is what I will envision it to be. Okay? And yes, we should look for ways to make it better. That is what we should be talking about. Not this ridiculous conversation about how women are doomed and how men are doomed and how the whole world is doomed and how everybody is going to die. The moment you get married, your life is over. This is a terrible conversation. I didn't even know that I'm going to be triggered by this conversation, by this line of questions that are coming from Paul. Like this is a serious distraction. Having this kind of conversation is a distraction from important conversations that should be had about marriage. We're talking about how do we navigate the world of marriage? How do we make the most out of it? How do we ensure that we don't pick wrong spouses? These are the kind of things that people should be focused on. Instead, this is the conversation people are left with. This nonsense. Talking about how women are doomed because of a couple of statistics that anybody can make up, manipulate numbers, and come up with whatever conclusion. Ignore certain aspects. I mean, I've not seen fraudulent statistics before. And even if the statistics are true, so what? And I want to mention something that the West should know, and should know quick. Other cultures, especially in Africa and in the Middle East, are not having this crisis that you are having. They are not. This marriage conversation, your existence as a race, let me not say race, as a civilization, depends on it heavily. Because if I say as a race, because even when people who are black Africans go over there, the same will I call it principality, take over them, and then you see them divorce or see them say they are not going to get married as well. It's like there's this spirit hovering in the West that once you enter, the spirit just takes possession of you. But I just want to know that people in Africa, people in the Middle East, they are giving birth in great numbers. I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's not because marriage is great. I know many of you lie to yourself and say, oh, African women are submissive. You are joking. You are joking. Okay? It's not. I was about to call people from a particular state, and I'm like, no, let me not do that. It's not some women and African women are troublemakers. It's not the reason why people are getting married in this country. It's not because marriage is great. It's because they see marriage as a necessity. Look at how women are suffering in the Middle East. Yet they are getting married. Because marriage is seen there as a necessity. Granted, there are also people who are forced into the marriage. Let me not gloss over that. There's also that. But even despite that, people who still get into the marriage, even though they're not 100% happy with the condition of it, see it as something that is necessary. As a woman or as a man, this is something I have to do. That is why they are getting married in Africa. That's why they are getting married in the Middle East. It is you in America who believe, or you in the West who believe that there are other options. You've convinced yourself that there are other options. And who cares about having children? You know, who cares? And you are seeing your civilization die as a result. One of the best that the world have had as historically the best. That has offered so many great things to society. And you're going to watch it die because you don't want to get married. You don't want to continue this. You want to die out. People are not even considering that when they talk about this conversation. Nobody's seeing it as a necessity. Why people in other countries, in other cultures are breeding, you know, especially those in the Middle East, those who are, you know, of a particular religious persuasion. You know, just breeding like rats. And you're like, well, who cares if Western civilization ends with me? Jesus Christ, as long as these people will not change the laws, then Western civilization be damned. Know that is what you are saying when you say, no, I'm not going to get married. Know that is what you are saying. You can come up with all the excuse, convince yourself in your head, but know that you're letting your ancestors down. People who fought, who sowed blood, sweat, and tears to give you the life you have right now. You are letting all of them down when you come up with these ridiculous, stupid excuses and rubbish conversation. I've never seen a group of people who don't think about the people before them, like the people that came before them and how they need to make those people proud. Like people in the West, it's like our ancestors they never existed. We are the new America, we are the new West, and we are going to do whatever we want. We owe nothing to people who were here before us. It is me now. And if the situation is not very 100% beneficial for me, then it should be damned. And I don't care about the future. I don't care about continuing what has been happening. I don't care. That is and it is annoying. It is bad. It is very, very bad that you don't even think about, you don't think that far. You don't think that far and that wide. Sorry, I'm ranting. I'm ranting, but I hope that the message is getting across to everyone, you know, as clear as possible. You shouldn't be having this. This is a ridiculous. This is a conversation of somebody who is selfish, who is self-absorbed, who thinks alone about himself. And it is a mindset that is predominant in the West. Very, very predominant in the West. And people are doing this now. People are happy with yourselves. As you're doing it, you're like, yeah, this is the good life. First of all, it's like, but you know this is bad. These people are bad. These people are backwards. They don't know anything. They don't understand. I am the new. It is me. Everything that is new, everything that is me is what matters. It's very sad. It's very sad. It's very sad. And you people are now experts in coming up with excuses. And as people are telling yourselves those excuses, it's making you think it makes sense. Why don't you give excuse for not eating? Why don't you do that? Why don't you come up with you can do it. With the West, people are pros in coming up with excuses. Why don't you come up with an excuse for why you should not eat? Come up with that. You can do it. And then starve. You know, talk about the price of goods in the market are more expensive than they were for your forefathers. I'm very sure people in 1965 we are buying a can of whatever for 1 cent. Now you are buying it for $10. I mean, for Christ's sake, why should you continue eating when society is like this? Look at the economy. Jesus Christ. Why should you continue eating? How about you stop? Things are worse now than they were, but you're still feeding, still getting fat. When it comes to marriage, your excuse is through the roof. Stop recognizing once and for all that this is important. It is important because you need to have children and you need to have well-rounded children. And well-rounded children can only exist in a household with a father and a mother where there is love and where there is happiness and where you have to do everything within your power to make this thing work. Do it for your children. People are not thinking that. Let's keep listening to this ridiculous human being.
Just picking, hey, if you get married, this bad thing can happen to you or this bad thing can happen to you, and that's true.
Mhm.
But if you choose to not get married, you can also have many bad things happen to you. You can grow up and have no social connections. You become a recluse, and you're more likely to commit suicide. You're more likely just to not take care of yourself. And the statistics show that on average, ever married men, including divorced men, live longer, are healthier, and rate their lives as happier than never married men. It's a statistical fact.
Because women date happy men.
This lady is a very, Hannah Pro Davis is a very, very stupid person. Because of anyway, let her say the thing she wants to say before I call her stupid, so you can see why.
Including divorced men, live longer, are healthier, and rate their lives as happier than never married men. It's a statistical fact.
Because women date happy men.
So they
women.
Do you see the stupidity of what she's saying? Somebody gets married and becomes better by virtue of the fact that the person was in a marriage, but it is not the marriage that made the person better. The person was already better, okay? The person was already great. Marriage contributed absolutely nothing. That is how Paul sees it. Oh no, it's not the marriage that made this person better. It's not the marriage that improved this person's quality of life. There is nothing whatsoever that changes about a man when he is married. Nothing about him changes. He remains the same. A man is going to live with somebody for 10 years and nothing about him will change. And even when it is reported much later that his quality of life has improved, it has nothing to do with the fact that this man is in that relationship. It is definitely not that. The man is going to be healthy regardless. Because people who get married are people who are healthy. According to Paul. She's not even going to stop and think for a second that, okay, what if because of a man wants to be, is married, has children, has responsibilities, he has decided to live his life in a particular way. He has decided to organize himself in a particular way, and that is by virtue of the fact that this person is married. And I'm not even seeing it. Look, the benefit that comes from a marriage, both for men and for women, I don't see it as something that comes solely by virtue of the fact that you have your spouse. It's because of your spouse that I'm seeing it as virtue of the fact that you are in that union. That union itself is going to bring so much benefit to you as an individual. That union itself, the fact that you are in that union, is going to change a whole lot about you. You cannot be the same. People who even have roommates for 5 years, their life do not remain the same after their roommate leaves them. After that, living with that person for 5 years, so many things about them change. But in a marriage, no, despite the outcome, it is because these men are already destined for that. But here is where it gets tricky for people like Paul. When there are negative things that come as a result of the marriage, it is the woman's fault. Are you seeing the madness that is running in this girl's head? So if there are good things that come out of a marriage, it was destined to happen. The man is already on the right path. That's why he even got married in the first place, because he was already destined for greatness. But if things go south for the man, it's because of the woman. If the man has a higher quality of life when he's married, it's just because he's a man who takes care of himself. But if a man decides to commit suicide after a divorce, it's because of the woman. That is the wisdom of this moron. Anyway, I've been ignoring so many super chats. Let me just go to them. Sorry, I've been talking passionately. Yeah, well, is this, sorry, I want to be sure that, okay, let me start from, okay. This is it. This is from Happy Mark. Said, appreciate you, Frank. Thank you so much. This is from Ray Jakes. How are men and women not equal? If a man needed a kidney, can a woman donate one, or is it not an equal kidney? Exactly. Look, I understand when people say the problem with the concept of equality is that, yes, there is people take inequality in one aspect and apply it into every aspect. For example, when it comes to people who make more money in society, men make more money than women. When it comes to people who are willing to do certain tasks, okay, men volunteer for those tasks more than women do, right? It goes without saying, right? I'm talking about hard labor and stuff like that. When it comes to physical strength, right? When it comes to physical strength, men have more of that than women. Okay? But when it comes to something like the ability to endure pain, women can endure pain more than men. When it comes to giving birth, women can give birth, men cannot. When it comes to even psychologically, there are things that when it comes to being relational, right? Being social, women are more sociable than men. Okay, there are things that women excel at that men do not. There are areas where women are superior and men are not. There are areas where men are superior and women are not. But people will focus on that. This is what people like Hannah Pearl Davis will do. They will say the places where men are superior to women are in the places that matter. For them, that is what matters. And then the places where women are superior to men are in areas that they would deem as places that do not matter. Once they make that distinction, they have finally been able to make women look as people who are lesser in every aspect than men, which is ridiculous. Generally, as in essence, men and women are equal. In essence, as in what? Intrinsic what? A man and a woman, they are equal. A woman is not lesser. Just like a white man and a black man, that no one is superior or inferior to anyone to each other. A white man is not superior to a black man is not superior to a white man in essence. The same way men and women are equal in essence. Now, of course, when you come to details of, okay, in this aspect, yeah, you see, like in sports, for example, you see men excel because it's physical. In other aspects, you see women excel because it's something that they are good at. You know, but in essence, they are equal. Sorry. Let me just keep going. This is D. Thank you for the 1,000 super chat. I really appreciate. This is from Nutrition with Maya. Would love to see you on Apostate Prophet and David Wood. I think the conversation will be awesome. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not for the lack of trying. And this is from Ray Jakes. Say you're speaking facts. Thank you. Thank you that you see what I'm saying as factual. You know, thank God you're able to find the wisdom in some of the things I'm saying. This is from Jax. Frank, the young Zulu women are all looking for sugar daddies. Do you have the same problem in Nigeria? So many teenagers having babies in the Zulu community, not even knowing who the fathers are. Teenage pregnancy in Nigeria, I think is an issue, but I don't think it's as much as an issue as you are describing with what you are describing happening among Zulu women. And yes, do we have gold diggers in Nigeria? Trust me, we do. We do. Yeah, we do. But do we have an epidemic of gold digging whores in Nigeria? I don't know. It depends on this is how I see it. Regardless of the society you find yourself in, this is how I see it. I see it as if you are somebody who lives a certain way, you lead a certain way of life, and you have a certain kind of friend, and you find you exist in a certain kind of social bubble, you'll be oblivious to certain realities. Like someone like me, I'm oblivious to the existence of gold diggers. I'm oblivious, because personally I've not encountered them. I've had stories about them, but have I encountered such personally? No, because yes, I live in a certain bubble, and if you are honest with yourself, you do too. But I live in a certain bubble where that is not the case. We don't see that often. But if you are somebody who clubs, who parties, who hang out with certain kind of women, those are the kind of women you will see, essentially. So yes, is that an issue in Nigeria? Like if you live in Lagos, for example, you will see women who we call runs girls, people who are just, looking for a sugar daddy, a man who will take care of them. It may even be a married man, they don't care. You will see people who live that kind of lifestyle, especially in Lagos. I don't know if that's common in other parts of the country, but I think it's pretty common in Lagos. And this is Ray Jake saying nothing sinks in for her. She is. Pearl can have a conversation with you and you will make good points and it will just fly over her head. I've seen it because I've listened to so many of the conversations that you've had over the years of her YouTube career. And I'll see people make valid points, in a conversation with Hannah Pearl Davis, and it just flies over her head because she just believes one thing and she sticks to it, and she's she's like Muhammad when he was writing the Quran. Anybody who does not believe what Muhammad is saying is lying to himself. the same way anybody who does not believe believe what Hannah Pro Davis is saying is lying to themselves. According to Hannah Pro, who is being honest. Everyone else is not being honest. So that's kind of like when you run with that mentality, nobody can tell you nothing. You know. Yes. Okay. I maybe I will send another email. I sent an email to David Wood. I did. I don't know if I should be saying this live, but I did. I sent an email to him. On one of his live streams, he gave instruction of how to find his email in a reasoned answers, the website. And I went to the website, I looked at the contributors page, I clicked on his on his page. Each contributor has a page, and in that page there's details on how to contact them. I saw his email and I sent a message to that email, but I didn't get any reply. So I did that. Okay, let it be known that I did that. I will try again because that was like a couple of weeks ago. I will try again because I would love, believe me, I would love to have a conversation with him. And also my email is on my YouTube page. If you go to my YouTube page, on the YouTube channel page, the about page, you'll see my email. My email is there. So if anybody wants to contact me, my email is on my YouTube about page. You'll see it there. All my links are there, you know. And also one way people always find it easy to reach me is through my Instagram direct message, sending me direct messages on Instagram. That's how I've been able to, get in touch with so many people. So yeah. But I have reached out. Maybe, I believe someone like David Wood must have received so many emails, and maybe mine may have been lost in the abundance of, maybe there are a couple Muslims. I believe that the people in the online jihad space have been sending him interesting messages. So it's likely that mine may have been mixed, in the mix of those, and then, something like that. So I understand if that's probably, I don't know if that's the case, but I did send an email. And I will send another one. And this is from Jai. Say male and female are both created in the image of God. Exactly. And they have equal value as image bearers of God, as God's creation. I remember a friend of mine was telling me something. He was speaking with a man, and the man was like, women we are created to serve the man, and that is why women we are created last. So it was like God created women last so that they can serve men and serve their husbands. And then I told the lady that, lions were created before human beings. So based on that logic, humans were created to serve lions. Anyways, let's see if we can. Let's just get to the end of this Q&A, and we'll call it a day.
Women pick for these things.
How do you know that?
Because I'm a woman. I'm a woman.
Yes, Hannah Pro. Every woman is like Hannah Pro Davis, guys. We should keep that in mind. She's the definition of a woman. Hannah Pro Davis. She can perfectly represent all of you. Okay.
We pick for. We like tall, handsome, good-looking men.
Is every married man tall, handsome, and good-looking?
Yeah. It turns out, and this is the funny part. It turns out that every woman, guys, every woman marries a tall, handsome man, and financially, buoyant man. That's what every woman does end up marrying. Let us ignore the fact that someone like me, for example, my parents got married when my dad was not raking in millions, even thousands. Okay. Like the state of my father's marriage after they got married was not economically was not great, and yet my mom married my dad. It wasn't like my dad was living in wealth, but she chose to marry him. He wasn't tall, dark, and handsome. Okay, he wasn't all these specifications that people give. He wasn't any of that. But my mom still married him. So I guess my mom is a rare exception. Even though I am very sure if any of you who is listening to me right now can think of couples, you can see a couple of examples like this will come into, a bunch of examples like this will come into your mind. You will remember many of them, but But no, Hannah Pearl Davis, what she thinks and how she views what women choose in marriage is what it is for every woman on the planet. Okay.
But he's usually one of those things. He's usually one. Like he's usually either successful or handsome or good. It's what women don't marry homeless men off the street.
There's a big difference between tall, handsome, and successful.
And homeless. The opposite of tall, handsome, and successful is not homeless. There are so many things in between. There are so many things in between.
Homeless. There's also average.
No, and so my point is women tend to pick above average men. We see this on dating apps. Women swipe right 5% of the time. The number one way people are meeting under 30 is on dating apps.
That's because on dating apps,
but
3
you don't know
times
what you're talking about. You're not even out dating. Like,
I do.
We'll answer
because on dating apps, Pearl, the reason that women are so choosy is because there are 3 to 4 times as many men on dating apps than women.
Mm-hmm.
So men will be constantly swiping right. Women can be more choosy in that environment because there's just so many more men. But in real life, when you look at a 1993 study, another one by Taylor and another one by Taylor done in 2011. I would like to finish before Taylor, and Taylor study in 2011 shows that men and women, when they get married, they tend to be within the same social range and attractiveness. So while for dating and hookups, you're correct, women on social media apps, because there's so many men to pick from, go for the higher quality men. When it comes for marriage, people tend to marry within their own social and attractiveness value bracket.
Right, but that doesn't disprove what I'm saying. Women pick a small percentage of men when given the choice.
That's not true, because I'm talking about marriage.
If women,
we're talking about marriage.
What determines how women behave is what happens on social media. We can also come to the conclusion that people are rude online because they are rude on Twitter. I mean, people are rude in real life. The average human being is rude in real life because they are rude on Twitter. Okay, we can also make that conclusion. Based on how people behave on Twitter, how rude they can be on Twitter, that is how they are in real life. The world is filled with rude people, right? Online behavior is how people actually behave in real life. Okay, that is the genius of the Red Pill gang.
But that's the number one way people are meeting under 30. And that's the thing, like a lot of you guys are so out of touch. You don't see, like, these studies take years to come out at some time. I can tell you firsthand what's going on because I actually talk to the people.
No, I agree. It's dumb to try to meet your spouse on Tinder. That's dumb.
Right, but that's what's happening. Right. That's where the world is going.
Right.
And you're encouraging men to clean up women's mess. And I say men should.
Yes. Men are cleaning up women's mess because men themselves are not messy. Okay, that is Hannah Pearl Davis' view, that men themselves, if there is a failure in marriage in the West, is both men and women are responsible. It's not a man alone. It takes two. Like somebody commented, it takes two. Men and women are responsible for whatever you see in society. It's not a one-sided thing. Okay. It has never been. If you talk about promiscuity, it's because why women are promiscuous today is because there are promiscuous men. And yes, the same way around. So many men now consider promiscuity because also women are. So if you as an individual is wondering, what do I do to curb promiscuity? You yourself, don't be promiscuous. Start with you. The change is going to begin with you. I'm not going to be promiscuous. If you want to complain about abortions, then don't be one who pay for abortion or have an abortion or put yourself in a situation where you want to consider an abortion. You know, there's so many things we can fix in the world that by just fixing ourselves. And this idea that men who marry women who have horrible past are cleaning up those women is ridiculous, because men themselves, so many men have come with a lot of problem. Hannah Pearl Davis is making it look like men are perfect. Every man who gets married is perfect. You know, the women don't get to endure so many things from men in marriage. It's only the other way around. Like, men are just fine. And as a man, I can tell you, as a man, I know I have problems. There's one thing even my friends will tell you, that I try as much as possible to be self-aware, to be like, look, this is my problem. This is where I have problem. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best. You know, if I find myself in a marital relationship, I can already picture the problems that I'll bring to the table. The problems, a lot of them that I'll bring to the table, because I'm not perfect. I have issues myself. But for Pearl, no. Any woman who is marrying me, I'm the one doing her a favor. Not she also doing me a favor. No. And if this is the mindset that people are having, this is not the mindset we should be having. Like I said earlier, this is not the conversation we should be having. A much better conversation would be, how do we navigate marriage in 2024 in the presence of this and this and this and this? Despite all of this, how do we navigate it? How do we make the most out of it? How do we choose right? You know. And yes, you might do everything right and it may still go badly, but at least if you do everything right, you increase your chance of having a good marriage. And it's a chance is something that is what is a risk that I think is worth taking. Even if there's a 90% chance that most of them, if your marriage is going to end in whatever, it's still a risk worth taking.
Have to do that. Men shouldn't have to sign a contract where women are paid to leave. I think it's so simple. If people are paid to do the wrong thing, why wouldn't they do it? Why would, I'm not saying every woman will, but every woman can.
What woman is going to want to say, gee, you know what would be great?
Don't ask questions. Let her go.
Yeah. Well, I'll go. Well,
you can answer it.
Yes,
but don't
I will
ask
answer
questions.
No, the women aren't saying, gee, it would be so awesome if I married this guy and then got full custody of the kids. So now I'm a single parent and I have to take care of these kids. Good thing he sends me $440 a month to help with that. That doesn't sound like a great deal to me.
$440.
So as in the idea that she's like, oh, women are being paid to leave marriages. That's why they are leaving. No, there's no person who is going in. Most women are, of course, there are some women who are, but most women, I believe, are not entering into marriages thinking, oh, if things don't go the way I want, then I'm just going to opt out and then, get this huge amount of money as benefit for opting out. That's not what people are thinking most people are thinking when they get into marriage. They are getting into marriage hoping that it will be forever, hoping that it will be, it will lead to happiness and fulfillment in their lives. That is what they are hoping for. People don't enter into the way this red pill guys couch it is make it look like, oh, in the West today, women are just entering into marriage and you know what? Well, I am being there's incentive for me to leave, and after considering the amount of money that I'm going to make from leaving, I'm not going to leave. I don't believe that most people most marriages that end up in divorce because the woman at one point just woke up and was like, if I leave this marriage right now, I'm going to make so and so amount of money. And that is why it is wise right now for me to leave. I don't think most people, there are some people, let me not say anybody, but I don't think most people are entering into marriage or leaving marriage with that mindset. For most people, they find themselves in a really difficult situation where they really cannot continue in the marriage and things have really broken down irredeemably, or at least that's what they think. That is it. It's not like, oh, I will make money from this, therefore let me leave. No.
Dollars over 18 years is over 100K. That's life-changing money. That is life-changing. And this is the thing.
Try raising children on three kids on $440 a month.
And this is the thing. This is the other thing that you don't think of. Oh, this is the other thing. See, I'm not used to. I always have to write it down. You said that men don't fight for custody. This is the problem with men in statistics. This is the problem when people just read studies and they're not actually in the field. You don't know why.
Pearl is in the field. Pearl is like, this is what happens when you read statistics, but you are not actually in the field. What field are you in? What stupid field are you in, Pearl? Field of what? Field of failed marriages. That's the field you are in. When people read statistics, but you're not actually in the field. I am. This is one of the dumbest statements that somebody made in this conversation. Where you're not actually in the field. Pearl, what field are you in? Field of what? What are you? A divorce lawyer? Not actually in the field.
You don't know why men aren't fighting, because a lot of times men are in the position they cannot afford to fight for custody, and the lawyers will tell them not to do it because they spend $50,000. I interviewed one guy, 1.5 million.
God forbid. Well, you see this comment, God forbid. God forbid. God forbid. Yeah, I thought as a member of this cult that I'm cultivating, you will wish your leader well. Huh? This is what you want to happen to me. I thought after all I've done for you guys, this is what you want for me. Can you imagine? God forbid.
$1 million in Texas. $1.5 million on a divorce. He still didn't get primary custody. These cases are common. And if you spent a day in family court, if you actually were in the field, you would know.
Okay, so that's an anecdote, and it also doesn't say anything about marriage, because if a man hooks up with a woman or cohabits and she gets pregnant, he can have the same issues. So this is not unique to marriage.
Well, yeah, but marriage puts them at a higher risk because they're on the hook for alimony as well.
Alimony is only paid out in 8% of marriages.
I know, but what does a man get out of marriage that he doesn't?
Paul, if somebody attacks a point you are making, you don't just hop from that to another one, and then you hop from that by using the sentence "but," as if you are buttressing, you are pushing back on the point that he just made. He just said,
because they're on the hook for alimony as well.
Alimony is only paid out in 8% of marriages.
Alimony is only paid out in 8% of marriages. The fact that he just stated. What is Paul's response?
I know, but what does a man get out of marriage?
How does that answer the point? Oh, what do they get out of marriage? 8% of it ended alimony. So that means the whole alimony payment that you're using as a reason why people should not consider marriage is only applicable in 8% of divorce cases. And you're just going to hover over that and ask, what do they get out of marriage? Anyway, I've answered the question over and over again. There are lots that they get out of marriage. You can go, can watch this live stream again if you want to, and see some of the things I stated.
But he doesn't get out of a live-in girlfriend. What benefit?
Well, he doesn't. One benefit, he's not a 45-year-old guy saying, "Can I bring my girlfriend to the party?"
Who cares?
One, he's not that. He's a mature, stable person.
Okay.
What does he get out of it? He lives
benefit?
longer. He's healthier.
No. What benefit does he get out of specifically signing that contract? What does he get? Women give children outside of marriage, so that he doesn't get that. The women gain weight after marriage. He doesn't get that. And all of the stats you're saying you're attributing to marriage, I would disagree.
Pro asks a question and will not even give the person she's asking the question opportunity to answer. It's just, I just want to hear the sound of my voice.
Agree.
Well,
I would say that women tend to marry happy, successful men.
That is just a correlative theory that you have, and that's not true, because if you just look around at men, and when you do longitudinal studies that control for success, you see that's not the case. One longitudinal study found that after a man gets married and upon the birth of his first child, he works 10 to 20 hours a week more than unmarried men.
Right, because women love spending men's money. Of course.
This girl is daft. Hi. This girl is daft too. Yeah, if a man has a child and works more to provide for that child, it's because women love money. This woman is daft.
He's got to work more. Even car salesmen will tell you the final say is who? The woman.
No, it's because now he's grown up, Pearl. He's grown up and he realizes life isn't just about him.
Which is like, if a man does that, it's because he now has more responsibility. And now he wants to work more and provide for his family. It's not because the wife is busy scraping his look. As a single man, you spend more on stupid things. Single men spend so much on very, very stupid things. You see a man with that money he will use to, if he was married, he will consider his children, his wife, school fees, other things he need to put in the house when he wants to spend. But as a single man, he will just go and buy PS5 or whatever PS is out. He's just going to go and use his money. Money he will use for better things. He'll go to buy PS5. That's what he will do. Or he will use his money to go and buy the latest car that can go faster. But when you are married, when you are married and you have children, you have meaningful things to spend your money on. You have things that are more meaningful to spend your money on. You now have responsibility. And then you work harder because you want to provide for your family. But for Pearl, no, the woman is just sucking the man dry. Jesus Christ.
he has to take care of other people.
My wife's credit card spending is off the chain, and that's the thing. I am
Men
in the
have
field.
more credit card debt than women.
I am in
They have
the
more credit
field.
card debt than
I am
women.
in the field. That's
What
the
expertise?
thing.
What field? What expertise do you have in
because
this?
when you actually interview the men that have gone through this, you have a completely different perspective, and that's the thing. Because you can make. We just went through COVID. How many studies did they have, and experts that came out and said COVID, you should take the shot. Oh, sorry, I don't want to YouTube you, but
you have 1 minute left.
But my entire point is you can make a study that says anything, but if you look at reality,
Pearl, are you not quoting studies too? This is the funny thing. If you're quoting studies, now he's quoting studies, and you're like, hey, you can quote any studies. Then if you don't want to quote studies, then don't quote studies. Not you quote one study, I quote mine, and you're like, no, because that study does not agree with the point I want to make. Then your studies is wrong, or the studies you're citing is fraudulent because it does not agree with the point I want to make. That is how Pearl argues.
If you look at reality,
so studies are wrong except for the ones you cite for your position.
If you look at reality,
yeah, if you look at reality that was not captured by these statistics, if you look at reality, what reality are you looking at, Pearl? What reality? The reality of the 5 billion people you've interviewed on your show? Jesus Christ.
You would never sign a contract that someone is paid to leave, and there are just not enough wives to go around.
You have 40 seconds left. Feel free to ask him more questions.
All right, that is it, guys. That is it. I don't even want to hear another. I don't want to hear the sound of this lady's voice. I think that's as much as we can take for one live stream. Oh my God. I'm having a headache. Jesus Christ. Just listening to Paul is giving me headache. And somebody said this is the person I should marry. God forbid. What do men want in a marriage? It's not like we're even looking for all this nonsense that Paul is talking. We just want somebody who is supportive, who is agreeable, who is cooperative. Simple things. Men are people with simple needs. It's not like we want the whole world. You understand? And yet the simple things we want sometimes are hard to come by. And when we see it, they are valuable. A thing is not valuable because of how simple it is. It's what makes something more valuable is just how valuable it is. Okay? Scarcity is what makes the price of things to go up. And if such virtue you are looking for in a woman is scarce, then it is supremely valuable. Anyways, I don't know how that contributes to the point of the conversation, but anyway, fit it in whatever I've been saying. If there's a place where it fits, fit it there. Like Jazz just said, sorry, I was trying to highlight that. She is really a bad representation for actual women. She is, and she's not in. She talked about, towards the end of her question and answer, the part where she gets to ask questions. She said that that Trent Hunt doesn't know anything about the reality of things, but the person who doesn't know that is so out of touch with reality is actually Hannah Pearl Davis. She's so out of touch with reality. She has this very skilled view of reality that seeks to favor whatever notion she has in mind when it comes to marriage. Very skilled. It's not like I'm going to deny that there are bad marriages. There are. No sensible person would deny the existence of bad marriages. Are there bad wives? There are. Are there bad women? There are. But guess what? There are also bad men. Terrible men. Wife beaters. Wife beaters. People, alcoholics, gamblers, irresponsible men with children who don't seek to take care of their children. People who give their wives headache. There are such men out there. Okay? There are men who are narcissistic, controlling, domineering, oppressive. And of course, there are also good-digging women who are also manipulative as well, who are also abusive as well. Whatever bad thing you think they exist in the female side, you can find it also in the male side. Okay? There is no innocent party in this. There is none. We've all fallen from grace, and many of us are trying to be good people, while some of us are also trying not to be. And you can find it across the board amongst men and women. That's the reality. Yes, there are also so many social factors that have affected the the way marriage is today. Legal, cultural, political. There's no denying that. Okay? But one thing that has not changed is that marriage is necessary for most people. It is necessary. What's happening in the comment section? My 18-year has better sense than her. My 25-year-old has a long-term boyfriend, and they both contribute 100% to their relationship. And then somebody said, just stop spreading propaganda is 1700. Anyways, guys, I think we've come to the end of the line. Let me see if there's any super chat that it's not like I have so many. So I should not be not reading them. All right, I think I've read all of them. And thank you guys for joining me in this live stream. And expect a video for members, expect it on Saturday evening or Sunday morning. And for every other person, it's going to, expect it's not going to be available on Sunday. It's going to be available on Monday. So expect it on Monday. But for members, expect it on Sunday evening or Monday morning. You guys know how it goes. Many people who are members already know when to expect video. When videos usually when it's available for them that are members, and which is also a good opportunity for those of you who are considering what are the perks of being a member. You get early access to my videos, and I get to see your comments and on time and react to them. Even though yes, I do as much as possible respond to many people in the comment section, but I will respond to you definitely whenever I release a video and I see your comments. So these are the many advantages of being a member. So sign up today, and God will richly bless you. All right, thank you guys. It was wonderful. It was fun. And till the next time, have a very blessed day or night, and peace.